Hey guys, it's MGTOW Dad. I hope everything's going well with you. You're taking care of yourselves and the ones you love. I stink, I'm dirty, but I want to do this video because it's burning in my mind. I've been cleaning all day, but I'm going to do all that after. I'm going to take myself off here because if you're here to marvel at this beautiful visage, then something is wrong with you. So, peace. I have my own little philosophy that anything worth remembering, anything of substance, and especially anything worth molding your life after is not something that you should just read off of a bumper sticker or t-shirt. My other statement is that it's best to take something vast and profound and hard to discuss, break it down, and then build up from there. So I'm going to say something very simple and build up from there. MGTOW means men going their own way. MGTOW does not mean MGTOW should all go my way. Now I want to show something here because as you can see, it says I have comments and I can't read all of them, which I just hate because I don't like the fact that YouTube censors MGTOW content just because it says MGTOW. But if I do, so I want to show you if I click here and go to the actual video, I'll refresh it. It says 6 replies, but I can't see any of his. And not because obviously I'm removing them, because it says I still have them. I just want to put that out there for clarity. That has nothing to do with what I'm about to talk about. So what I do want to address is this, those 2 comments. I'll give you a moment to pause and read 1, 2, 3. Good, you should have paused it. Now, this is one thing that I loathe about MGTOW in general. I want to say a few things about me. I'm a MGTOW. I don't think MGTOW is for every person. I don't think marriage is for every person. I don't think polyamory is for every person. I don't think religion is for every person. I think some people need certain things, some people don't. So one of the things I hate about MGTOW is the purity tests, the no true Scotsman fallacy, so to speak. And I want to say that in the most basic level, I look at it like this. If you were taught that 2 plus 2 equals 4 at 3 years old, and you learn math and all that, and I learned 2 plus 2 equals 4 at 8 years old for whatever reason, we understand the same concept. So this person apparently believes that you can't come to the knowledge of something after the point this person did, or it makes your exact same position invalid. Even though you can argue that at the very least, my positions are made based on experiences, be them good or bad, and that person made a decision and went with it. They could have been told that way, I don't know, and it's not important to me. I think that's the most important thing to me. I don't care how you became a MGTOW. I don't think if you were introduced to it at this age but not that age, it's different. Or if you learned that you are a MGTOW after a divorce, or became a MGTOW after a divorce as opposed to before, or didn't get married, or didn't have kids. I want to say this as someone who has self-described themselves as retarded often in their life because I have my mental issues and I'm from a time where we used that word. So I don't use it disparagingly necessarily, but that's a retarded position. And this is what's interesting. In another comment, I told this person it's interesting that you come here, watch, let's just say he watched the entire 40-minute video, and he didn't. He doesn't know anything about me, but assumes that the reason I'm at this mental state is because of the divorce. And it's ironic that I even make statements, or I should say I made videos where I make statements about the fact that I find some people in life find out they are at a place because they decided, whether it was because their parents said they're going to do something, or as a child they were fascinated with something, or financially it made sense, whatever. They're going to do something. They're going to be something, whether it becomes their ideology or just a monetary thing. They go to that place. Some people find out at some place they're at a place because that's where they unconsciously went. That's just where they naturally found they are. To me, I say looking back, I had that MGTOW philosophy for a long time, but I never had an environment where I expressed myself positively. Again, the irony of part of that 40-minute video this goofball did not watch is the fact that I learned my entire life to live in fear until I went to the Marine Corps and learned I could actually kill people. I could have probably killed my father for during all of the altercations where he was, physically assaulting us. My brother is 6'9", and I want to say 5'4" until the end of high school. So I left my father well before I even hit anything near a growth spurt. So I didn't have an option for that. Well, at least I thought at that point. I was completely raised in fear. So again, this guy assuming he's better than me because he came to the conclusion that 2 + 2 = 4 before I did, and that now that I know 2 + 2 = 4, but I learned that 2 + 2 = 4 only via this method, that 2 + 2 to me is different than 2 + 2 = 4 to this goofball. It's one of the things I reconcile now with my mom and my father, because my mother was a great person, but it's interesting in that I know I don't want to say she did it as in it was her intent, but in the nature of being raised by a woman, I am and was and I'm now battling over feminization. I just think more emotionally. And again, I do want to make a video about what I think are clear definitions and distinct differences between femininity and masculinity, but that's interesting. But again, it's something that I practice a lot of self-awareness about, so I'm not ashamed of it. Again, I would rather learn 2 + 2 = 4 as, at any point. I don't want to walk around my life thinking 2 + 2 = 8. So again, shaming someone for coming to the same conclusions, at least theoretically, even though, again, I don't think this person and I shared the opinion on what a MGTOW is. But lastly, he says, I have no children, which is a sad state, but the price MGTOWs pay. MGTOW pay all kinds of prices. Like, again, my sacrifice does not make me a better MGTOW. I now have to, again, I'm going to be very blunt here, roll the dice and now put my eggs in the basket of sitting here every day. I'm in a position where I could say I can abandon my kids right now, but I don't think that's what a father does. So I'm now trying to raise my 3 daughters in a way more masculine than I was raised, and to understand masculinity for what it is and appreciate it for what it is, to understand femininity for what it is and appreciate it for what it is, and then figure out where in that, broad spectrum, I hate using that word, you lie. And then, again, you can start to, by practicing self-awareness, being honest with yourself, sit there and say, if I struggle being over masculine here and not masculine enough here, and I'm aware of it, I can combat that. Because again, masculinity and femininity is not necessarily inherently based on your initial thought. It's so much more than that. I always say I love when I have some thought that I think is, I don't want to say profound, but sometimes it's profound, sometimes it's deep, sometimes it's self-revealing, profound in that nature. And I love when I find out someone smarter, more intelligent, with degrees and all this, that studied things, came up with a term to describe what I'm going through, the thing I thought of. Again, I love that. And then the last thing I wanted to tie up before I go on is, again, this guy talks about the sacrifice he made, the price he pays as a MGTOW. Again, I didn't get onto my part. The sacrifice, and I use the term because I sacrifice. You have to suffer for the people you love, especially your children. But that is the price I'm now paying. I have to, again, as I was alluding to earlier, deal with those question marks of femininity, my kids being overly feminine, and again, the realization that I may lose one of my kids to society like that. That I'm not looking forward to. I know, not for example, but I just know people who are now estranged from their kids, and I don't want that. My father, again, this is kind of linked to that 40-minute video, and this is why this is also relevant and I'm talking about it. Again, my father's dying, and he doesn't care that his kids don't want to see him. And again, for what he did, I'm not talking about like I didn't steal his car and crash it. No, he beat me up and beat up my mom in front of me and had the police have to come and then got out of it because he knew the cops. And I didn't want to be around that. Like, that's why I left, and then he never kind of looked back or addressed that or said sorry or anything. So again, it's not like we accidentally ended up here. Now I'm thinking today, if my kids didn't want to talk to me over something I did, like what I would try to do it. Now, especially if I did it and I was wrong for it, because I would want to make amends. Not only, I want to make amends for the mistake and not lose my kid in the process. So it doesn't make sense to me how he can do that. I'm worried eventually at some point my kid will do something like that. So again, I also don't want to pre-program my kid. I don't want to raise fearful kids. I don't want to raise them not trusting anybody. Again, I want to raise them to learn who to trust and all of that. But that's all, based on their ages and all that. My oldest is 12, my youngest is 7. So and then there's obviously the middle one in there at 10, but the way I present life to them is different. Again, if I could reel all this back, to me, this is the epitome of what people look at MGTOW from the outside in, looking in and see and just shake their head at. At least I hope it is. What it probably is that the fact that 90% of MGTOW posts are women bashing memes with no actual substance to them. Again, it's venting and all that there, which is, there's substance in that, but I don't believe that's why most guys are doing it. I think they do it because they have no idea how else to express themselves positively. And if they do, you got people like this beating them up because you're too late to the party, so you don't get to celebrate the rest of the party. I hope everything's going well with you. I hope you're taking care of yourselves and the ones you love. I'm now going to go take my stank butt into the bath and clean up and rest my back. And then start cleaning up some more. Actually, I'm doing laundry more after that. Go easy.